Morning. Just going back to Saturday, obviously a disappointing loss, especially after we'd set the standard pretty high. And I talked to our players about that this morning. Just we have a high expectation, a high standard for ourselves, and didn't meet that on Saturday. And they played their best football of the season, and we probably played our worst of the season. And I can't exactly put a finger on exactly what it was or what went wrong or, those things. So numerous things for sure. But just felt like we never got the momentum in the dome there. First third down, we run a sail route and doesn't get free there, probably get held on it. And then we get a third down stop defensively, and we get called for targeting. 2 plays later we have a pick, and they knock it out of our hands. So that was kind of the story of the day. JC breaks a big run across the 50, then gets a little loose of the ball, trying to get extra yards. And all of our guys are just fighting for a little extra, trying to make a play. And next thing you know, it goes the other way. Coming out of the half, we try to reset and refocus at the half, and come out of the half, get a stop right away, and then try to make a play. And had the punt block team going to go block it and run into the kicker back there. But that was just kind of the story of the day. Just kind of every time we try to get a little bit of momentum, we'd have a setback. And obviously I got to do a better job as a football coach of making sure we don't have those. But that was the biggest. And what I told our players this morning is just, hey, they've done a really good job this all year, is reset, refocus on FAU, 1-0. And I think your job as a leader, whether it's the head football coach, whether it's a husband at home, whether it's a head of your company, is never get too high or never get too low. When things are really good, you can't be on top of the world. And you got to keep everybody in check. And I think that when things are too low, you got to be the positive guy and energy guy going around practice and make sure everybody's pushing forward and looking out the windshield and not the rear view. I think I heard Mike Elko say it last week. You got to be the opposite of what your team is. So if your team's down low, you got to be, the energy guy. If your team's up high, you got to be the bad guy going around practice, and I kind of agree with that. So we got a great opportunity this week in FAU, and this team has responded, like I said, all year long. We've had a loss, and then we come back and get some wins. So we hadn't had 2 losses in a row, but it's a great opportunity for win number 8. I think that hadn't been done since 2014, and maybe only 5 times, 8 wins or more in this decade. And win number 6 in the conference, which would be the best American record conference since East Carolina has joined the American. So in our preparation, as we focus on getting ready for the week, we got to make sure, we're not making it about the last game or 8 wins or 6 wins. We still got to focus on us and our preparation, winning every single day this week. FAU is a good football team, doing some really good things right now. New head coach Zach Kitley, who came from Texas Tech, kind of the Mike Leach tree, air raid, Cliff Kingsbury. He's tempo, he's spread, going to throw it around. I think they had over 600 yards of offense this past weekend, so he's doing a really good job there of creating some offense. His quarterback, Caden Veltkamp, is a transfer from Western Kentucky. I think he's the first or second in the nation right now in passing yards. So he's a guy back there that's going to throw the RPO, but also drop back passing game, get the ball off his hands pretty quick, and does a really good job. His top receiver, Easton Messer, is I think second in the nation with 90-plus catches, doing a really good job as well. Defensively, their defense coordinator, Brett Dewhurst, also has some Texas Tech connections. I think he's a native of Texas. He's been at Coastal Carolina, been at Mississippi State, been at Texas State. Mostly they're a 4-down front. They're going to close the middle of the field, play some post coverage, play a little bit of bracket. They will get into some odd front, 3-down, and then they'll also have a flavor of the week as well with that. But the linebacker, Leon Hart, is their leading tackle, number 6, and then one up front, C.J. Doggett, the transfer from Ohio, kind of leads them in sacks. So that's a little bit of preview just kind of about those guys and kind of where our focus is, where our mindset is. And I think, as always, it's out the windshield, not the rear view. As I heard one of our players say the other day, there's a reason the windshield's a lot bigger than the rear view. So we need to make sure that's what we're looking at and go finish this thing off the right way and get ready for the bowl game after that.
Coach, you're about to play the 5th game in a row without a bye, and obviously 12th game of the year. So how do you balance giving the guys appropriate rest, but also getting them ready to go?
Yeah, your week 14, game 12, game 5 in a row, and you got to have a fine balance of taking care of their bodies. And obviously we got a little bit of sickness going on right now. I think we had about almost a dozen kids out with sickness today and some injuries from the game, kind of balancing that, but also get your work in. So it's a fine line between that, keeping your guys fresh so they can go play fast and do the things you want to do on Saturday, but getting the work in that they can go do those things. So you got to balance that up. And, you're at that point in the year that you may not need as many full speed reps as you did earlier in the year because they've been there, they've done that, been through 12 games, but you still got to get your reps of what FAU's looks are, both offensively and defensively.
Coach, you focus on the opponent ahead, but do you sit down and look at game counts of the guys right at 4 games right now and talk to the position group coach? And decide that with that young man?
And I think we've done a really good job of just talking about red shirts and freshmen who, if they play and get 5 games during a regular season, they burn a red shirt. So we've got a bunch at 2 or 3 games right now that we've saved to the last game that will travel this weekend. We had a young man use his 4th game this past weekend in Kendall, so we're going to try to hold him the best we can this week. So we do a pretty good job balancing that and just making sure we're also not protecting just this year and doing a great job this year, but protecting the future of our roster. So excited about those guys. Once they get to postseason play, bowl game, it's all fair games. All those guys can play in that without it counting against their red shirt.
Coach, pull from last week as you stay on the road this week. Can you kind of stress the extra importance of starting fast when you're not here at home?
Every single week. I think we're 7-0 when we score first. So that's a pretty good stat. And, we stress that every week. We just weren't able to make that execute early in the game, make that happen early in the game. And some breaks went their way, didn't go our way. And we got to bounce back and make it happen this week. We got to find a way to make sure we come out of the gate and foot on the gas and keep it going.
Coach, when you got to the dome and you're looking around, guys are warming up, and you're seeing UTSA, was there anything in your head that you thought there's some kind of, maybe a brewery around or something?
Yeah.
It just didn't happen to East Carolina. It happened to Tulane, and they're a really good football team.
Yeah. Memphis was in the top 25 last year, got beat there. Tulane, as you said, got beat there. South Florida got beat there last year. 25-0, it was something nobody in our conference has done yet. And you always look back at little things, little details. And I thought our preparation was pretty good last week. What could I have done differently to make a difference? And maybe I didn't focus on the process and the preparation enough. Maybe I talked a little bit too much about the dome. Or maybe, and you go with 1,000 different ways. If you win the game, none of that matters. But when you're not successful with a game and the outcome's not what you want, you always look at the little things, kind of pick it apart, at least in the coach's mind. That's what we all do, right? But, you can't put it at one thing or another. It's really got to pull a thumb and say, hey, how can we play better? You can't blame it on the dome or the lighting or the echo, the noise, or any of that crap. It's all about what we do, our preparation, how we make plays, and we just got to do a better job at the end of the day.
You talked about the passing game and how prolific their passing game is, and they weren't able to, your guys weren't able to get pressure on the quarterback to feel like McCown got a little comfortable with. But what would you like to see happen with them this week?
Yeah, I think McCown just got rid of the ball really quick with his quick game, rolling out of the pocket, moving the pocket around. And I think the biggest thing is we didn't stop the run. And I think we talked about it last week. We needed to win the rushing battle. And we didn't do that. We didn't put them in 3rd and long, those situations. And credit to them, they did a really good job of staying out of 3rd and long, getting in 3rd and short, manageable downs, manageable distances to keep the chains moving. And I think defensively, anytime you let an offense do that, they kind of have the upper hand and they're kind of swinging. So we got to make sure we do a better job of that, putting them in some long yardage situation. And look, 3rd quarter, and we have obviously the first half we have. 3rd quarter we played better, but it was also that situation of you're behind by 4 or 5 scores, you're trying to make plays, and you're trying to make something happen, and you're trying to make a miracle comeback or something. I told the guys at halftime, I said, if we make this happen, it'll be a storybook. And which we're onside kicking in the 3rd quarter. And some coaches would say, hey, we're just going to kick it deep. We're just going to get out of here. We're going to run the football. We're going to move on. Well, that's never my mindset. That's never our program's mindset. That's never our players' mindset. We want to freaking play to the final whistle, and we all believe that, hey, at some point, somehow, some way, we're going to make some plays to kind of get back in this thing, and we just weren't able to.
Dome camp, there's been times, I guess, he struggled this year, but when he gets in a rhythm, man, he can light it up. Just how much of a concern is that? And just their passing games are the best you've seen in the all year.
Yeah, the film I've watched, I go back to the UConn game and some of those games. He's looked pretty good, and they're 3-2 at home. I think they're 1-5 on the road. Another team you wish you played in, Dowdy. But he looks like a kid that's been back there, a veteran guy. He's got his receiver out there that transferred with him, and they're really in sync and does some good things and does a really good job running the offense. It's the same system that he had at Western Kentucky. You know, and coach was at Western Kentucky before he was at Texas Tech, so there's some relationships there, and it's all kind of familiar to him. So you can see him in rhythm back there, running the offense. I think they went for it on 4th and 1 at their own 10-yard line the other day, went 90 yards. So they'll kind of take some chances all over the field. You'll see them in muddle huddle or polecat, you know, different situations, 4th down. I see him run a flea flicker on 4th and 1, which you don't see much. So you got to expect anything and be prepared for it. And at the end of the day, we got to make sure we do a great job with our eyes. And I think it's the old saying, see a lot, see little, see little, see a lot. So we got to make sure we're ready to go.
Coach, it's been a game and a half now without Yannick, and it's caused you guys to run a lot more 12 personnel,
Yeah.
which is really traditional of an RPO offense. How do you feel like Kate and the offense has settled into more 12 personnel?
Yeah, I think it took us a little out of sync this past game. You know, going into the Memphis game, what the plan was to go a little bit more 12 personnel, calm their DC down a little bit. You know, going into this next game, you had to have that 12 personnel ready to go, and as well as some 11P. But Yannick's, you know, making strides. Hoping to get him back this week, and certainly miss him. And I think some other guys have stepped up, but you know, having Yannick back out there and just a comfort level for Caton would be huge.
Don't want to give away all your injury news, but like Jamarion, just any concern with what's going on late in the game?
Yeah, and Jamarion got an ankle late in the game. We'll see if he can bounce back. You know, was out there today, moving around a little bit. Just, you know, a big guy and a lot of body weight there on an ankle. You never know. And he's had a little bit of injury this year with the stingers and the shoulders and the neck, but kind of been fighting through those, and we'll kind of see where it is and who gives us the best chance to win a game on Saturday.
Any other questions, Coach?
You know, before we wrap up, just kind of happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Happy Thanksgiving to Pirate Nation. I think, you know, being here, we talk about it all the time, how special this place is, and, you know, got so much to be grateful for and thankful for. You know, thankful for our players, thankful for our staff, thankful for everybody that makes this thing happen. You're going on game 12, week 14. There's a lot of people that kind of, it takes a village to make it all happen. So thankful to everybody out there, appreciate them. And also thankful to our fans, you know, thankful for your passion and your support. And we all take that for granted. I really appreciate it, because there's not like that everywhere. And Pirate Nation, enjoy your holidays. Enjoy some Thanksgiving turkey. Eat a lot from me. Enjoy your family and friends. Appreciate you. See you soon. Go Pirates.